What's up, guys? Gosh, sorry about that. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Kryptonite, because I believe that cryptocurrency and the blockchain are the kryptonite of our modern financial system, and I love it. Guys, today was a very fun day. It was very volatile in the markets. I made a couple different trades. Just to give you a little, I will cover those a little bit later in the video, but one of them, guys, you're going to be blown away by how simple of a mistake that I made that literally caused me to miss out and lose. I lost, obviously, I got stopped out, and I'm using proper risk management. So it's not like it was more of the move I missed that came later because I had just made one little mistake that was costly. It was so costly. However, I was able to win two short positions on Bitcoin. One was overnight that I won, and I won another one that you can actually kind of see here on the chart. But then I also did lose another one. So we got a total of 4 trades, basically 2 for 2. Unfortunately, this one I lost was a little bit of a bigger risk one. So I did profit overall with all the trades combined, but it wasn't much because of the trades I lost were a little bit bigger in terms of what I had risked, unfortunately. But that is what happens sometimes. Wasn't using, maybe proper risk management on some of those, but still came out with a little bit of profit. Again, not much, but we're slowly grinding, slowly building the trading account, and it's sometimes a slow grind. So before I get into my two of my trades right there, let's start off by, of course, looking at the bigger picture for Mr. Bitcoin. I love Mr. Bitcoin. Okay, guys, so I've been talking for a little bit on this channel. This box right here is my target for, I think, the lowest price Bitcoin could go. Now, I don't know when the bottom is coming. No one does. In fact, today, at a price point of $18,700, I bought more Bitcoin because I wanted to say, just in case we did hit the bottom, that I was able to buy Bitcoin under 19,000. I wanted to just for the future be able to kind of swag that and be like, yeah, I bought Bitcoin under 19,000. Now, again, we could very well go lower, and I am saving a lot of powder to sort of basically, I'll probably buy in at each level. If we go under 18, I'll buy some more. If we go under 17, I'll buy some more. If we go under 16, I'll buy some more. If we go under 14, I'll buy some more. And then this box right here, I would basically go all in. I would be looking to sell any physical possession I have to scale in between about basically 14,000 and the bottom of this box here, which is about 11,000. That would be just put everything in. Not everything, of course. I would obviously leave money for rent and other things, food and such, of course, emergency fund. But I would be basically trying to do whatever I could to acquire Bitcoin at those prices. And I'm sure a lot of people would be doing the exact same thing. And if we measure down, if we did get all the way down there to about 14, that would be about 80%, just about. If we went all the way down to the box, which I don't honestly think we would go to 84, because that would be even more than last time. So again, I think 80% is a perfect retracement right there at our previous all-time high here, right? So I think 80% would be literally perfect. And here's why it would make more sense, guys. I was doing some more TA here. In fact, let me go to my cleaner one here. I was doing some more TA on these charts, just trying to really get an idea. And one of the first things I was looking at was like, okay, how do we draw this falling wedge here, right? Because there's technically 2 ways you could draw this. You could draw this like this, but something about that just doesn't look right. It just doesn't make sense. It just the fact that we could come all the way down to 11 and it would like barely hit this price target. I don't know. It works. You can make it work, but it just feels off. It just feels like think about it. 8,000 to hit the bottom of this, you know what I mean? And it just kind of looks funky too. I don't know. Something about it isn't right to me. I think that doing it this way, it just seems like it makes more sense, and I'll explain why. So, and I know what you're saying, Tim, but it goes outside the pattern. Well, we see that. That's actually a pattern. If you look at the chart pattern website, you'll see that sometimes you get a dip out of falling wedges and then back in. It tends to be actually a very strong signal for a strong bullish breakout. So if we go by this drawing instead of the other one, we would sort of reach the crescendo of this falling wedge. And I need to move my face here so you can see it at the bottom. October, November. So about mid-November, we would literally reach the peak of this guy, right? November 21st. It's like end of November. And historically, based on the cycles, Bitcoin bottoms will bottom in November. So this actually kind of makes perfect sense for a lot of things. It makes perfect sense for my price target of, right around 14,000, hitting that previous high right there. It makes sense from this pattern standpoint because we would basically be reaching the crescendo right in this area between 12 and 14,000, in which case we would have to see a move, and I would be shocked if we moved down because, again, we're talking about an asset that there will only be, I believe, 21 million ever, and it's actually less than that because a lot of people have lost their Bitcoin for eternity because they lost their wallet seed phrase and or they died with Bitcoin in their wallet without having sort of the seed phrase being passed down. So we're talking who knows how many hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin that will never be recovered because it is lost into the interweb blockchains unless someone invents some new way to sort of discover that. But the way crypto is set up is sort of, that's it. Like if you lose your keys to your wallet, like it's gone. Like there's no way to access that, right? So again, you never know. Technology could do something in the future. But so we're talking less than 21 million. This is one of the scarcest assets in the history of mankind. Literally set up to where you just can't make more. It's too decentralized, and there's no way to get all the people using it to agree. And no one in their right mind would agree to print more because everyone knows that would devalue what they have, which again, unfortunately, we have no control over the fact that the dollar is being just mass printed, thus devaluing everyone's dollar. So unless you're getting fat pay raises or unless you're invested in something that's appreciating, your dollars are still $1, but what you can buy with that $1 is significantly decreased. And this is the problem with inflation. Whoever initially gets that new inflated money, which is usually the government, they get to spend it right away while it's not in circulation yet. So they get to buy anything they want at a good price with the new money that they printed. But once they buy those things, now that money's in circulation, and now down the road, that's when everyone's buying power tanks. They still have the same amount of dollars in the bank, but what they can buy with those dollars is significantly less. And this is basically a secret tax, right? This is, we are already taxed part of our income and sent to the government, but now the government printed new dollars, spent it on what they wanted to without having to, they don't deal with the price increases because when they used the money right away, it hadn't entered circulation and had time to sort of realize that inflation. So now they bought everything at the prices they want. Everyone else now can't do that because now all this extra money is in circulation. So that is the beauty of Bitcoin. We're talking about one of the scarcest assets in the history of mankind. It's basically like holding energy in a way. And I heard there's some really awesome things about how Bitcoin mining is actually helping stabilize the grid in Texas. So real quick, I know this isn't TA related, we'll get into it, but really cool. So basically with renewable energy, a lot of energy is wasted, and it's wasted because we can't control when renewables decide to be energetic. We don't control when the sun comes out. We don't control when the wind decides to blow. So there are times where renewable energy is very high, but we don't need it at that point. And so a lot of this excess energy gets wasted. They just have to release it into the air because it's too much for the grid. It's not being used at that particular time. So you see a problem here, right? We're getting plenty of energy from these renewables, but it's at the times where we don't need it. And so it just gets wasted. They just have to get rid of it off the grid, right? It just goes, evaporates, right? So these Bitcoin mining rigs in Texas, what they're doing is whenever renewables are that surge, right, that we don't know when it's coming or how to control it, they turn on the miners. And so now Bitcoin is mined. They're able to make a profit off of that energy that was once wasted. And now you take those profits and you reinvest into making your mechanisms for getting renewables more efficient. Or you can just use that money for other things, right? So it's a way to profit off of what was once wasted energy is now energy that you're able to profit off of. And then, of course, if the grid is too strained, they can shut the miners off. So Bitcoin mining is actually helping stabilize grids and helping utilize what was once excess wasted energy is now being utilized by the Bitcoin miners. So they're really the footprint of energy that Bitcoin uses is significantly less than what other mechanisms in our world use, although the news likes to try to make Bitcoin look bad as an energy waster, when if you look at how much energy it's really using versus other mechanisms, it's really not significant at all. So it's pretty much a bogus crap narrative that has one purpose behind it, and that's to get people scared of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, because there's people in this world that do not want you to be able to have control over your life. They want to own you and own everything that you own. And they don't want you to be able to own anything. And Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is the epitome of getting to own something that nobody can take away from you. And that's why I freaking love it. So it's the one way to protect yourself in today's day and age, as the elites in our world are closing in on pretty much everything we own, to the point where we won't own anything and we will be happy about it, but we really won't be happy about it, because ownership is a part of the human existence that makes us happy. Owning things is powerful. We take care of things that we own, right? If we don't own anything, then we're easily controlled, easily manipulated, easily pushed to whatever the elites would like us to do. And that is just not how humans operate at our best. It doesn't allow us to be ourselves. All right, so enough with that rant. Let's jump into the TA here. So again, as you can see, I think that mid to end of November would be a perfect bottom around my price targets if it gets there. There's no guarantee it gets there. For all we know, we get a nice liquidity grab here, and we push back up and we get out of the pattern and we break bullish. So that is still in play. So let's jump down to the daily chart. As you can see, we've made some various bear flags. I was actually reminiscing when I go through some of these charts. I have memories of trading this range here on this. This was super fun. I traded a couple different head and shoulder patterns. One here that I traded down. So it's kind of funny to look back at old consolidations that you remember, because this was just like we had just had this straight channel for a while. It was like so straight, except for that one pump. So I had a lot of fun. I was thinking about the other day. I was like, oh yeah, I remember trading that range. That was fun. And of course, we all had fun trading this range as well. And now we've been in this falling wedge here for a number of weeks now. This is kind of our new normal. So kind of funny to look back on those things. So as you can see, we are in this falling wedge here. The falling wedge inside the falling wedge, inside the falling wedge, inside the falling wedge, inside the falling wedge. And we actually broke out of this, right? We consolidated here, this bear flag rejected. Then we consolidated here and actually broke out, but then got rejected again. And now we're currently getting supported from our trend line of the falling wedge and my little box of support here, which comes from 4 wicks. 1, 2, call that 5 maybe. 1, 2, 3, 4 wicks that came here previously and got pretty nice support. So I have that box drawn there. And as you can see, we got a nice bounce. Now we did break below it, which you could say is a little bit of a liquidity grab. Look at you can see this previous low here. It broke below it. And this could be potentially a liquidity grab, where we drop below those lows, grab a liquidity, and now we're going to have a rotation back to the upside. This is very common to, again, break that previous low, steal that liquidity. It doesn't always happen. Obviously, you can see it didn't really happen here. And it doesn't always happen, but you want to look for these grabs, right, where it just gets below, takes that liquidity of people who had stop losses that were tight, and now big money has enough orders in to push the price up. So I am currently in a bit of a bias for long positions in this shorter time frame. Once again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Make sure to do your own research. This is for entertainment purposes only. Gotta say the thing. And you could also look at this as a potential retest of our falling wedge here as well. So if we get a nice support bounce from here, especially if we break this previous high, this previous swing high here, that will be very, very bullish for the Bitcoin price. In fact, yeah. So I did lose. So I won. I'll just jump down here. I'll show you guys what I'm looking at. So I did win a trade in here, which I'm going to pull up right now. Let you guys take a look at. Let's take a look at this bad boy. Yes, I do use Brave Browser. Highly recommend you do it. They literally pay you to browse. Okay, so I'll try to pull this up on the other chart so you can kind of see where it is at, because this is on the 5-minute chart. But basically, we got this big push up, came down, came up, made a bit of a lower low here, and we were kind of near this resistance. On the 15-minute, we had a 3-line strike, which is where you had 3 subsequent candles and then one that kind of engulfs them all. So that's usually a pretty strong indicator, especially on the higher time frame. So we had a 3-line strike. We were near this resistance. I made a little patch there. And actually, I traded off the breakout and you could have traded off the retest there as well. Just a nice little retest. And we had actually a bearish divergence, as you can see right here, multiple, where we were making lower lows, even though we were making higher highs on the price. We also had our stochastic that was nice and oversold there, ready to drop down for us. And you could have even said the same thing at the retest as well. So nice little trade that I was able to win there. Let's jump back to the price. This guy. I did take another trade here because I saw that we had, had a nice solid 1 hour red candle, had a little bit of buying pressure, but for me, we weren't near this falling wedge resistance yet, and we weren't near my box yet. So what I did, I drew a Fibonacci from here to here. As you can see, when I took that trade, we were not yet at the 2618, and we had already broken the 1618. So usually if it breaks the 1618, it'll run to the 2618. So I actually jumped in a short position that won pretty fast. It dropped down pretty quickly, hit the 2618 and got into the box, and I won that nice little short position, kind of just mainly based off that. I saw a lot of momentum to the downside. Then your boy here tried to take a long because we got a bounce here, not only in my support box off the 2618, and we had a nice green candle. And I think I thought there was a better candle than that. Could have sworn there was a better one. Yeah, so on the 15, so we had this nice kind of doji candle, which can be, appears at the bottom of trends, right, to show a trend reversal. We had these nice, little 3 straight green candles. Support box, we had strong support from our previous trend. So I thought it was worth taking a long position. But as you can see, we came down and we got stopped out, and we even dropped below my support box. And now we are pushing up again. But as you can see, it is pretty weak, and we are struggling to hold to even break back out of that box. So I'm waiting to maybe see a double bottom here, right? We had this nice wick here, so that's going to be an area that we're gonna look at. In fact, we're gonna throw a little volume on here to kind of see how much volume we got in that candle. Oh, nice little pump there. Okay, so that's a nice little candle showing that this range here of this candle might might hold at least for a little bit. But again, we could see it, it actually makes sense here to have a double bottom where it actually only drops to this trend line and then makes a W, and that would be a kind of actually what you see pretty frequently at strong resistances. So right now I would be kind of looking for that. We're in the strong support area, so we should get some consolidation. However, I will say that after looking at the good old, whoa, why is that? Nope, V, here we go. After looking at our volume range, a visible range volume profile, and I like having this guy on the other side. It bugs me whenever it's on the right side. So if we zoom out here, there's really not a lot of volume down here. And this is kind of what's a little scary is, we had our big volume area right here that we, broke below and then kind of got rejected from. You can see it's kind of jumping around, but it's kind of staying in the same general area here. But guys, there's really, once you get below this, there's nothing really there. We could jump to kind of the longer time frames and kind of see like, okay, well, where's our next, maybe volume area? And once you drop, it gets pretty, we were still in a decent little area right here. You can see a nice little spot there. But once we go below that, we're talking about a significant, potential quick drop, right? There's not a lot. After this support breaks, there's honestly not much going on volume wise. And so we could see a sharp drop, which would not be surprising to see kind of like one last really sharp just capitulation, maybe even come down and wick down to 14, right? We get a wick down, super fast wick, immediately gets supported, something like that. Some sort of black swanish type event here. We do have the merge coming up, so although you think that'd be pretty bullish overall for crypto, I wouldn't think that would bring us down, but very important level for us to hold, especially our previous low here. If we break those again, we might have one big spike. So I might honestly, now that I'm looking at this, I might try to set some buy orders down there just in case you get like that just fast drop. That's when you want to have buy orders down there ready to go. So that's something I'm going to be looking into. Maybe loading up my trading account with because I have my separate account. My trading account is very separate, but I do have an account that is for just buying on spot. So maybe I might load that up and then set some orders in at 17, 16, 15, 14. That way I'm prepared to catch all those dips if we get some big dips. So could be some scary times ahead for Mr. Bitcoin here. Yeah, guys, again, I do expect this range. You might even be able to trade this boxed range here. It might even end up being a really good, even kind of down at the bottom here. It might just range here for a little while. I would not be surprised at all to see some consolidation here at this level, especially since we got some support here from. Another thing of note is we have been getting a lot of bullish divergences on a few different time frames. Here's the hour, as you can see, low, lower low, higher low on the RSI. We're pretty much painting these on most time frames, right? Higher high, lower high. I think even on the 12-hour we're getting it. Lower high, higher high, right? So we should see some consolidation and some kind of a push up, I think, just because of the strong support level, two different supports and multiple bullish divergences even on longer time frames. And I wouldn't necessarily say they've like fully printed yet. We need to see a few more green candles before you could say some of these longer time frame ones are actually valid bearish divergences. But that one's not a great one on the daily. But again, if those do print, then we should have a nice, maybe another consolidation. Maybe we get one more push to this trend line that we never made it to last time, right? We never made it to this trend line. So maybe we get one more push, or we just consolidate like this. So this is, I could see this happening right here. Let me draw this out. You can use a little brush. So I definitely could see this, where we kind of maybe push up, get rejected by the moving average, come back down, and then we kind of range here. Maybe we make another higher high, boom, something like this, and then maybe we contact here, right? Kind of making sort of a consolidation pattern, almost similar to something like this. And then we get a nice rejection down towards, wherever that would probably be about 14. That would be about 14. That would be about my price target there, the bottom of that wedge. So that is a kind of something I could see happening. Let's delete this guy. And then I did want to mention one chart I'm looking at a lot is a chart that I had, the nice 1 hour. Oh, where'd it go? I had one that had a nice, kind of showing you guys that 1 hour. Here we go. So this 1 hour moving average has been very powerful. I talked about this in one of my previous videos. We had our bear flag, big rejection down from the 1 hour, basically pushed us out of the pattern, came back down, got far away from it, started consolidating again, rejected down, rejected, then big dump. So this 1 hour 200 has been killing us. As you can see, we are now away from it after a dump. So I would expect consolidation, waiting for that 200 to come back. And then again, either then we finally break it to the upside, or it rejects us back down once again. So this, again, we got far away from it, which is why I'm definitely leaning more bullish in the short term. It wants to get back. It wants to get back to its price that it wants to be on the 200. 4 hour 200 isn't really too significant for us right now. I did push this out here, but right now it's not coming into play as of now. Maybe in the future. Of course, the dollar index, which pretty much runs inversely to Bitcoin, as you can see, if we zoom out, we are in this rising channel, have been for some time here. Started forming this falling wedge pattern. However, it looks like we might honestly break bullishly out of it, coming up to retest the top of our channel. And this would definitely, push Bitcoin lower, which would also kind of align with kind of my potential outcomes for getting down to 14. And we are getting a little resistance here on the shorter time frames in this falling wedge pattern, which does have a bearish breakout, so it could end up breaking down and then maybe retesting the center of the channel. Right now we're actually holding the center of that channel, which can sometimes happen. You don't always get down. Sometimes it holds the center and then comes up. So again, the DXY chart is looking very bullish. What the government is doing to prop up the dollar is, as far as we know, they're not changing their stance on that or anything. It's going to continue to be that way. So it's hard to sort of imagine that suddenly Bitcoin, when it's not even cycle time yet, right? We haven't even hit November yet, which is cycle time for bottom. We're not even at November yet. Still have another month, maybe month and a half. DXY looking bullish. Government still cutting interest rates, doing all that stuff. Like, there's no real reason, I guess, for Bitcoin to have bottomed or to bottom. I mean, it could just consolidate potentially, but I do see further downward action just because the macroeconomic factors, and it might all align kind of perfectly, honestly, for when we bottom. So I'm definitely looking forward towards the winter season this year, because I think we'll finally see Bitcoin starting to rally in preparation for the eventual halving. That is pretty much all I got for you guys. Oh, I got to show you. I forgot I told you at the beginning. So this US 30 trade. Man, okay. It's a frustrating one for sure. So notice this red line here, like so. And notice that, we had this sort of bear, basically like an extended bear flag almost. That's actually more than a bear flag usually runs. So I had this line actually drawn incorrectly. Let me show you where I had it drawn. I had it drawn like this. So when I got a rejection after I think there might have been a divergence. I can't remember if there was a divergence or not. So I guess not. Shoot. I could have sworn there was one. Kind of was one-ish there. I vaguely remember there being a divergence on the higher time frames. Let's see if I was right. Yeah, so there was actually a bearish divergence right here. So I saw actually multiple. There's a bearish divergence here and here. So I see this bearish divergence right here forming on the 1 hour. I get the signal from these kind of targets I have to go short right here after a nice beautiful rejection from our trend line, which has held us down this falling wedge pattern for a long time. And so I went ahead and went short and then immediately got stopped out, only to realize I had misdrawn my trend line. And if I had drawn it correctly, I would have drawn it right about there. Now, had I seen that and seen that we had space to go up, I probably would not have taken that trade. And as you can see, if I had waited for the next high, which was yet another divergence, we eventually did get a signal after a rejection from this trend line, and then we got major follow through. But I missed this whole thing because I had already gotten stopped out, and then I kind of stopped looking at it, and then we have the major. So I was really upset. Just such a simple little mistake where I just had a trend line not drawn correctly, caused me to enter early and miss out on a huge move. So 2 for 2 on the day, but honestly kind of bummed, missed some big opportunities. But that is just sort of how it goes. I'm just continuing to learn and grow. I think, taking a chance on that long wasn't honestly that bad of an idea. We were oversold as well. So like my trading ideas tend to be pretty solid. It's just the little technicalities. Just didn't have my stop loss quite high enough and I got stopped out, or didn't have my trend line drawn quite correctly and so I got in a little too early, or it's just these little things that I'm trying to work on, kind of getting these little kinks worked out to where I'm setting really good stop losses. I'm making sure my trend line drawings are perfect and just really setting myself up for successful trades, because as you can see over and over again, I am correct. It's just I was a little too early, a little too late, or some sort of technicality issue. So I still got a lot to learn. I'm still growing every single day and trying to improve my skills. Doing this right here helps out a lot. So again, as of now, I am still looking for on the 1 minute chart, which I like to trade off of because I get more signals. I'm definitely looking for longs / just some range trading, I think, in between these areas here. Go back. I'm going to be looking for some range trading in between this little box here of our supports for now. And then also, obviously, you can see some of this candle formation here on the daily here is looking like it's almost like a hammer, right? If it finishes up, then we have a perfect hammer candle at resistance so I would probably be, again, looking for longs for sure if this candle, which is still some time left, ends up closing. So guys, that is all I have for you today. I'm hoping that we get some nice trade opportunities tomorrow. Not a bad day overall. Definitely made mistakes, but pretty excited. I definitely am going to try out a funded account here pretty soon, because I'm tired of trading with these small accounts I have. It's like such a grind just to make like $100. It kind of sucks. So hopefully have some more capital to play with on a funded account. But guys, as always, make sure to save your money, grow your money, buy some Bitcoin like I did, because we all know that fiat currency is the ultimate meme coin. It's going to get printed to oblivion because we're in a debt-based system and it's based on debt. And they're going to have to keep kicking the can down the road until it's gone. Just like it is in other countries that are like Turkey. It's like 80% inflation. Or Argentina that people literally had to flee from. I literally witnessed people fleeing from Argentina because their currency got inflated to oblivion. It's a tough world out there, guys. Buy your Bitcoin. Choose better money. And I'll see you on the next one.